What is an American thing, but Americans think everyone outside of America does it? Born and raised in the US, Massachusetts. When I went to Australia, I automatically assumed that the waiter would bring the bill over when they thought we were done eating and just tell us to pay whenever we were ready. I sat at the table for a good 15 minutes just browsing my phone with no food or drink on the table until I decided to call a waiter over. They told me when I was ready, I could pay at the front counter. Went to Brazil to visit my wife's family, and we ordered some street food. I tried to pay upon order, and my wife told me they take payment after we finish eating, even if it's street food. After eating, we totally forgot that we hadn't paid yet, and just got up and walked away because we're so used to paying upon order. After about 50 meters of walking, I was like, wait, we didn't pay for the food. We rushed back to pay, and the cooks had a good laugh about it. As an Australian, trying to figure out whether a cafe is table service, order at the counter, or pay at the counter can be tricky. Some places will bring your food out, but others will call your name. Traveling in Italy in the early 2000s. A glorified hot dog stands on a hill. Was a small mobile hut and 2 tables with 4 total chairs. We were walking back to our hotel, stopped, and got 3 waters. I sat down while my dad got the water, and the food dude started losing his mind, waving and being loud. Another person nearby clarified that buying the water was once priced to sit and drink it was more expensive. Another cafe. Realizing that if you choose to sit rather than go, you are treated like family. My sister and I had walked about 2 miles looking for food late. We said sit. But they realized they closed in about 2 minutes. We apologized to no end and said we'll take it to go. They'd gear none of it. They escorted us to an outside chair, brought linen and tableware, brought the food out, and asked if we wanted to taste anything else. Offered a dessert they would make just for us. Different cultures and experiences are amazing. My culture shock when visiting France was the lack of a bread aisle. In the US, I'm used to seeing an entire aisle full of bread, the majority of it being sliced sandwich bread, as well as things like sliced bagels. Whole, unsliced breads tend to be found in the bakery section in smaller quantities. Standing around looking confused while staring at whole bread is what ratted me out as an American. Even before the poorly pronounced choppy French ever escaped my mouth, lol edit. Not sure how I managed to mention sliced bagels, but forgot about hamburger and hot dog buns, free refills on sodas. It was my first time in London without my parents. 20 years ago or so, I stopped into a McDonald's for a quick bite and a Coke. I was tired and jet-lagged and just wanted something I didn't have to think about. The cashiers looked at me like I'd sprouted another head when I asked for a refill. I thought maybe it was a cultural word, like cookie and biscuit, so I took the lid off and offered the empty cup to fill again. The exchange went something like, them, you'd like a whey? Me, just a refill on Coke, please. We can just give you a new cup. This one is fine, I'm just taking it out with me. Right, but you want to buy a new drink, yeah? So you don't refill drinks free? Like just one price for the whole time you're here? No, sorry. No. Having the waiter take your credit card at a restaurant. Most other countries bring the machine to you so you can pay at the table, and at least reduce the risk of having your credit card information stolen. I'm Dutch and currently in the US. Today a waiter came up to me and said, "Sir, your credit card needs a PIN code. Are you comfortable giving your PIN code, or do you want to walk with me and type it in?" WTF do you think? Do you think I'm gonna hand you my PIN? LOL. The sheer amount of ad breaks when watching a TV show. In the US, there seems to be one every 10 minutes, but here in the UK, you get a break halfway through a show, and then in between shows, and that's it. This varies wildly by country, and the US isn't even close to the worst. In India, they have an ad break every 5 minutes or so. That would be bad enough, but they, I shit you not, play the same set of ads every single break for hours on end. It's entirely common to actually repeat an ad twice in the same break, with a different one in between if you're lucky. Then you get 5 minutes of show before watching literally the same ad again, twice. It's completely insane and feels more like brainwashing or torture than advertisement. The over-the-top customer service attitude. On a trip abroad, my wife thought that she upset the waiter somehow because he was generally neutral in his interaction. It was generally neutral because it was a generally neutral interaction. No need for that customer service attitude. When I came to the US from Canada to see a friend, after dinner when we were splitting the bill, they asked if I could just Venmo it over. And then I told them we don't have Venom. And then I saw the shocked Pikachu meme face around me, so I'm gonna say Venmo. I bought something from someone in the US recently. We were both known to each other, so no worry of fraud, etc. They initially refused to make the sale unless I used Venmo. It took some convincing that it wasn't possible as Venmo doesn't exist outside the US. They then went to every possible money transfer system they could find and started sending me details, creating accounts, etc. In the end, I got fed up and directly sent the money to their bank account from mine. I could see all the details in one of the emails they'd sent me. I let them know and got a panicked email back telling me they didn't know how to collect the money and what company they contacted. They absolutely didn't believe me when I told them to just wait for a few days, and it will appear in their account. I was blown away. I've been banking like this for 20 years, yet some Americans seem to think it is all a recent revolution, naming mere suspects of crimes with their complete names and a picture in the news. Yeah, and then people feel comfortable mentioning their names in podcasts and shit, even after they have been cleared. Sorry, can't you just refer to them as ex-boyfriend A or something? I find it incredibly unethical for the police to release that information to the public. In Poland, even once you are convicted, they only release your first name and the first letter of your surname. In some circumstances, they will give the full name, but that's rare. They don't even release pictures of people before they get convinced, unless it's needed, and that's incredibly rare. Do you know why? Because everyone is innocent until proven otherwise, and pictures getting out can lead to stigmatization. Edit. Spelling errors. The gas pump only turns on after you've paid. I was in the UK and filling up my rental at a somewhat rural station and was flabbergasted that I was supposed to pay after. I asked the guy if people ever leave without paying, and he just shrugged and said, "Sometimes, but not often enough that it's a problem. Move around only in the car." When I traveled to the States, I was in a hotel with my friends. We wanted to grab something from the supermarket. We had a rental car to get around, road trip style vacation. But at home, nobody would take the car to grab a snack at the supermarket. It was only about 8 minutes away, on foot. So we started walking, and at the next big crossing, the sidewalk just ceased to exist. It was a 4-lanes road and far too dangerous to walk. We were extremely confused by the concept of not being able to walk everywhere you wanted. I mean, sure you can't expect sidewalks next to a highway interstate road, but inside a city? Went back and got the car for a 2-minute ride. That probably was the biggest culture shock we experienced. Free water at restaurants and water just being brought to the table by default without you ordering it. I definitely prefer the American way. I literally always want water with my meal, regardless of whether I am also ordering something else to drink. Tipping, I was in Spain, and an American family left a tip. Spanish staff was panicking, thinking someone left money behind, and ran down the street after them. When they got back to the restaurant, they were so bewildered at the whole situation that they got us and the next table's order wrong. So I work in a bank, and the amount of people I encounter who think they can get to customs in another country and just take whatever dollar bills they have in their wallet and exchange them, as is insane. In most other countries, your USD has to be immaculate if they are going to accept it. In just about all countries' customs, your USD has to be the most current bills, I believe Series 2017, with no visible imperfections, no stains or dirt of any kind. And depending on the country itself, they may even go as far as turning down bills with center creases from being in your wallet. As for people coming back to the US, I often see immaculate foreign notes and currency when they come back to exchange into USD. If you're going to travel out of the country, do yourself a favor and call your bank and ask to speak with the foreign currency department. They'll let you know if you'll need to order the currency you're looking for specifically, or tell you what branches you can go to exchange your bills. You can also do this at several major airports in the country. Just do the exchange while you're in the US, in case God forbid something happens while you're abroad. And if you are ever going to take physical US bills into customs in another country to exchange, go into your local bank before traveling with your bills and ask to have them exchanged for the most current and best possible condition, and have the teller banker paperclip them together and put them in an envelope for you to prevent bending, creasing, tearing, dirt, and staining.